What's up, everybody? This is my rough draft to my vlog. All right. Um, so I'm gonna talk about my youth group and as a discourse community. So I wanted to get into like deep conversations on why I do this, but I'll probably get around there if I get pull off a tangent or something. But I'm gonna talk about the requirements about what my assignment wants me to do, for my English class, and we'll go from there. All right. So we got a couple questions that I need to answer. All right, I'm gonna read them out loud and then answer them. Are there certain methods of communication frequently used by this community? For example, group chats, etc., etc. All right, so we use a WhatsApp group chat. I send all the dates on when we practice. Practice is every Thursday at 6:30. When we perform, right? When, let's say, if I need to cancel practice, if I need to send out a poll, like for example, okay, what song do you want to do? This one or that one? All right, what do you want to do? This name for the youth choir or that name, which I'm currently doing right now. So yeah, that's what I do. I prefer text in that scenario versus calling. Let's see. Are there specific text genres that this community relies on? All right. So the thing is, in the English masses, especially at the church that we're at, we can only pick songs from this book right here. Right? Why? A lot of the songs we have to play songs, right, that are like covers, I guess you can say, at church. And when we play those songs, they're also copyrighted. So when we bought this book for the whole church, we bought the uh, we have the privilege to play those songs at that church without being fined. I don't want to say we bought the rights. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but we're allowed to play these songs that are in this book at that church without being fined, right? And it has to be this book because the reason why is because we want everybody at church to be able to sing, right? So if they sing, it sounds more beautiful, right? And we go from there. And then the musicians, right? If they gotta play some notes, right? They have them right here, easy to do. Play that, right? It has a page number 636, and then we just tell everybody, hey, turn to this page. We good, all right? So, and then Spanish masters, we don't have any books yet, but I mean, we just print out notes from Google or just find it ourselves through ear, whatever the case may be. Um, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. What are their genre characteristics? How do these kinds of writing differ from each other? Do they serve different purposes? Are they structured differently? All right. So the music that we pick out, right? Because we normally play at masses, right? I'm looking to expand to play at like just the youth group that we have at church and just different things. But right now we're just at masses currently. And we had to play songs that are based off of liturgy, right? So at church we have a missalette for the season that we're in. And the season that we're in is Advent, Ordinary Time, and Lent. Right? So everything in between that's what we're in right now. And currently we're in Ordinary Time, which is just regular time where it's not like, Christmas or, Easter, none of that. It's just regular time, right? So we got to pick songs off of liturgy, right? What does that mean? Right? So in the missalette, right, we have a mass. Let's say it's what's tomorrow? Saturday, Sunday, so February 2nd, right? That's the next one, right? We turn to February 2nd on this book, right? And it's going to give us some readings from the Bible. And in those readings from the Bible, right, we have to pick songs based off of those readings. So you can connect the dots at Mass, right? And the priest also does that too, where he talks in his homily about the readings, or he starts off talking about the readings. So everything has to connect towards that. That's kind of like the rule that we have. All right. Now let's see. What are there certain terminology, abbreviation, slang, etc., that is common to this community? I can't speak. And or that someone who is not in this community might not understand. So I mean, a lot of the terminology is just based off of music. Maybe God. I mean God. Eventually, things about God. But let's start off with music. Music. We start off with what key the song is. Key is, for example, if it's an A, okay, cool. If it's in B, that means it's a little bit higher, or C higher, depending. I don't want to get too much into the details about music. There's also things like sharp, flat. Sharp means you're going high above a note. Below, flat is below a note, right? So in music, this is like a way to state a note, or another way to put a note, a type of note. But when you're saying somebody's going sharp, it means they're going above the notes. Versus if they're going flat, it means they're going below the note, and you want to go at the note. Um, what else? I mean, just things of that nature. You know, I mean, every musician at the choir kind of does different things, right? If I give music to a trumpet player like this, it has to be transposed a couple keys down because they can't read off of this because it's like the trumpet is like can be two notes or two notes below. I don't know much about that, but my violin player does it. He transposes it to the trumpets, which he does a lot of hard work. Appreciate that. Let's see what else. Another abbreviation. I mean, hymns, right? We call our songs hymns, right? HYMNS. All right, so another one. Uh, are there expectations in regard to tone and style of multilingualism? I mean, in terms of like really knowing much about music and or God, you don't have to be an expert. I think just the willingness to learn is the most important part. We're Catholic, um, so the willingness to learn about God in the Catholic setting, I would say, and grow in that religious aspect is probably the most important part, as well as learning about music. Um, we have mostly high school students and then a few that have graduated high school that are in there who are 18 years old. So that's kind of like the saying. Our age group is from 15 to 25. Now we got a couple that have deviated from that, but they're like close in that range. I'm 24, but I'm the leader. Um, just the willingness to learn, because we have beginners and like super advanced people. Like we have somebody that is in honors band and just states band and whatever, all these different things he's in, and a trumpet player too. Then we also have a people that just started doing music. Like everybody can learn as long as you have the willingness to learn. I think that's the most important part, and not just in the youth choir, but in anything that you want to do. You gotta have the willingness to do it. Back it by action and attitude and everything. All right. Another question: are there methods of communication that are unique to this community? Just the music language in general. I mean, and God itself. I mean, just work hard, right? Practice is something that I say all the time. Practice makes perfect. If you don't practice, then you're not gonna be good. I got pianos over there, but what good is it if I don't practice it, right? I gotta get better every single day. That's kind of like the foundation that we have, I think, for anything, right? And practice means you gotta have discipline. Discipline means that if you do that, then you're eventually gonna get better. I know music, but I'm not advanced, right? So I'm always looking to get advanced so I can keep teaching. We have there is a teacher at my church. She's great. She's very sweet, talented, and overall great leader in the Catholic setting, who is teaching us. She has her doctorate in singing, performance or music education. I'm not sure, but she has her doctorates in singing and bachelor's in organ performance. So we are learning a lot from her. I'm learning a lot from, on the Spanish choir through mostly ear training or like just ear musicians, and I have a organ teacher. So yeah. What else? All right. So yeah, I mean, That's about it, But the biggest thing is God overall. This is a ministry for God, for the church, through music. A lot of people, well, sometimes there's not a lot. I will say this: there are people that may come in to the choir, or people just look at the choir, and they think, oh, it's not like the most important thing out of a church, whether it be because people might think, oh, the Bible study group might be more important, but music, it's just music. Like, yeah, it ain't people. Some people think that, right? But it really is important. One, it attracts more people to the church. Two, it helps connect a lot. Um, Whenever you're doing the message of God, because sometimes words cannot really hit your heart or your spirit, but music can, because music has the ability to enter your spirit without your permission. So it's so important that you play music right in this setting, because if you don't, then you're not being the vessel of the message that God wants to give the people, right? So it's a very important ministry that you got to take with a lot of seriousness. You know what I'm saying? Even if, no matter what level of musician you are, if you put the passion in, the energy in to what you're doing, people are gonna feel it, right? Now, obviously, if you're disciplined and passionate in learning and performing for God to get the message, then eventually you're gonna get better, right? But you gotta be willing to treat it as something serious, and I think this is also a message I gotta give my youth as well. So yes.